Hello and good evening. You're welcome to session 3 of the Pishons Academy. My name is Peter Adegoke. I've been a graphics designer for the best part of the last 10 years. And this evening, I am going to be putting us through the concept of color. And at the end of this session, you have the full understanding of color theory, how to apply color, when to apply color, and how to achieve perfect balance with color. So, the power of color. Color plays a vital role in design and everyday life. It can draw your eye to an image. Sometimes it can trigger an emotional response. It can communicate something important without using words at all. For instance, in the example you're giving in the video, you can see that without telling anybody anything about street lights, the moment you see the indicator red, subconsciously you know that you are meant to stop. Do you understand? That's how much emotion color carries. You know, that's how much impact color can make on you. Without any word, if you see a brick of a red sign that is just red, without any word indicating danger or anything, subconsciously, because of the emotions, because of how powerful colors can be, you know that this is what is dangerous. So that is how powerful colors can be. Now, artists and designers have followed color theory for centuries, but anyone can learn more about it. It can help you feel confident in many different situations, whether it's choosing colors for design, putting together the perfect outfit with little insight. You'll be looking at color in an entirely new way. So color theory has been perfected over the centuries. We've had so many artists come and go, and they've all worked on color theory in order to perfect, and they've followed the color theory for centuries. So any choice you are making is as a result of different iterations of different artists over the centuries. So this is a tested and trusted approach. So let's start with the basics of color. We know if you've ever been to a nursery or a primary school, we've all been taught about primary and secondary colors. You understand? So we all have basic knowledge of colors. So, and secondary colors we know are created by combining two primary colors. Red and yellow make orange, yellow and blue make green, and blue and red make what? Purple. So every color in between is as a result of the combination of what all of these colors at different intensities or in different percentage. That is how we come about every color in between. So now, if we mix these colors together, we get even more in between shades like orange red, yellow or green. All together, they form what is called a color wheel. And a little fun fact for those of us that are fact nerds out there, the color wheel was invented by Sir Isaac Newton. Sir Isaac Newton invented the color wheel. And ever since this time, we've been using the color wheel as a foundation for judging or working with, color. So we'll be seeing a lot of the color wheel as the during the course of this lecture. So now a closer look. Now that you know about the color wheel, let's take one step further with hue, saturation, and value. Now, as a professional, there are some terms that we use that is essential that we must use in order to we must understand some terms in order to sound professional. We can also call it what registers. So these are the terms you might encounter in daily life, but they are key to understanding more nuanced colors, like all those little paint chips at home improvements, store. So hue is the easiest one. Hue is just another word for color. In the example below, you might describe hue as coral pink or light red, depending on your interpretation. So hue is just another name for what? For color. Now, saturation refers to intensity. In other words, whether the color appears more subtle or more vibrant. Highly saturated colors are brighter or richer. We all see whenever someone edits pictures with their iPhone and then they increase the saturation, you can see that there is always more color Do you understand? There's always more color in the picture because they've increased the what saturation. But if you decrease the saturation, you see that it loses and loses that it loses that wow factor. Do you understand? It stops being vibrant. Shey you get? So that is what that is saturation. Now value. Value has to do with how dark or how light the color is, ranging from black to white. As you can see below in the sample, you can see that this shade of red is darker and this shade is what's brighter. So that is if you are asked to like increase the brightness or the darkness of the color, you are asked to adjust the what the value. So now let's get down to real business. So how do we put all this together to create professional looking color schemes? They are actually tried and true formulas based on something called color harmony. Color harmony uses the color wheel to illustrate time tested color combination. Now, if whenever you are trying to create a color scheme that you are using for your design or your work, there's a term called color harmony. This allows us to select certain colors that work together, and this time tested color combinations it has been used over time and is tested and and is trusted. Do you understand? So the easiest formula for harmony is monochromatic because it uses only one color. Yeah, we are just using just one color and different shades of that color. Now, the great thing about monochromatic color scheme is that it is always going to match each other because they are all in the same what? They are all in the same shade of color. They are all the same color. They are shades of the same color. So they are guaranteed to work with each other. Now we have the analogous. The analogous simply means the colors that are beside our main color or colors that are beside each other on the what on the color wheel. So the proper definition is colors that are next to each other on the color wheel, like reds and orange, blues and greens. Don't be afraid to play with the palette, create your own unique interpretation. That's what color harmony is all about. So create your own unique analogous formula, be free, be open to experiment with this formula. Now, complementary colors are colors that are opposite each other on the wheel. For example, green is opposite what? Red on the wheel. And this is a popular color for festivities and I think we can recognize this color scheme in Christmas. So they are opposite each other. To avoid complementary color schemes that are too simplistic, add some varieties by introducing lighter, darker, or add monochromatic, combine the monochromatic shades of your complementary colors. I said monochromatic shades are just shades of the same color. So just combine the monochromatic shades of your complementary colors in order to get what? Unique colors. Now, you have what they call split complementary. This one uses the color on either side of the complement. Now, if you look at this color wheel, you can see that in the red, the complementary color is meant to be what? Is meant to be green. But we are now using the split complementary. We are using the analogous color to this green is what we are using to combine. So that is what they call what? Split complementary. Do not mistake split complementary for triadic formula. Now the triadic formula uses three colors that are evenly spaced. It's just like you having a perfect triangle of what? 60 degrees, a perfect triangle of 60 degrees in your color wheel. So now these combinations can tend to be pretty striking when they include primary or secondary colors. So be mindful when using them in work. Always use them in percentages. Do not use them like watch the intensity of the colors in order to not make go wrong. Do you understand? Use them in percentages. You can break it down into 50, 30, 20 in order to like get that perfect balance. Select one as your main color, select the other one as your secondary, and then the last one will just be an hint of that color. Do you understand? So that's a trick balancing color. So that's triadic color formula. Then we have the tetradic. Tetradic just combines not one but two what? Complementary pairs. So what I mean, the color that is directly opposite your color on the color wheel is called what? Complementary. Colors that are directly opposite to each other. So we have this and this. This is one complementary, and this and this. This is another what? Complementary. So it's just the combination of these two that forms what? Tetradic what? Formula. So now, avoid these common mistakes whenever you are working with color. There are few classic do's and don'ts when it comes to color. For instance, have you seen colors that seem to vibrate when they are placed to each other? If you try to take a look at the text, this image, you can see that it's kind of uncomfortable for you to read because both of them are high contrast. They are both they both have high intensity, and the background and the text, they are both high contrast, so it kind of hurts your eyes to read. It's not comfortable for you to read. So how do you adjust this? You tone down what? The solution is to turn it down. Literally, there's a simple way to do it. Start with one color, try adjusting its lightness, darkness, and saturation. Sometimes a little contrast is what your color palette needs. So you can tone down the background so you'll be able to read the text much comfortably. Do you understand? And you can see, that is what's better. So now, avoiding the common mistakes. Readability is an important factor in any design. Your color should be legible and easy on the eyes, especially when working with text. Sometimes that means not using color, at least not in every little detail. You understand? You don't have to make your work full of color, and the design is the point of the purpose of your design is the most important thing. You understand? If you want people to be able to read a certain text, you should focus on the words, focus on the message. Don't let the colors distract people from the actual message of your words, of your design. Do you understand? So in the example you see here, you can see everything is just colorful and is distracting. It's not serving its purpose what? Properly. So now, avoiding the neutral colors like black, white, gray can help you balance your design. So when you do use color, it really stands out. So now you can see the text is readable and the color is actually impactful. It means something because everything is not full of colors. There's a term that they say less is more, and there's nowhere that is true more than in the application of colors. So now, choosing the right colors. Every color sends a message. It is important to consider the tone of your project and choose color palettes that fits. For example, bright colors tend to have a fun or modern vibe. So bright colors tend to have a fun and modern vibe. If you look at Airtel, for example, their adverts, there's a reason why it resonates with the youth. It's because they have this colorful vibe to their videos. Now, if you look at TG Omori is one of the hottest video producers out there now. And the reason TG Omori is very popular is because his videos are very colorful. For instance, look at the Buga video. It had lots of color. It's very catchy because the song is an high energy fun song. So imagine if they had a boring video to go with it to match the energy of the song. So you have to, whenever you are choosing a color scheme, you have to consider the tone of your project. You don't design for a burial and use. So moving on, the saturated colors often appear more serious or business-like. Sometimes it just depends on the context. With practice and creativity, there is no limit to what you can do. So the saturated colors appear more serious, official, and business-like. Do you understand? So it means you portrays that you mean business and then you want to be taken serious. Do you understand that? So finding inspiration, you can always find ideas for color schemes in all kinds of interesting places, from advertising to branding to famous works of art. By the time we get to practicals, you can just see how from this famous artwork, it was like this looks like an oil painting. You can just use your eyedropper to understand it better when we get into our practical classes, and you'll be able to like pick colors from any artwork and pick inspiration. It's called creative stealing. We designers we steal a lot from people's work, and so you can pick inspiration from other people's artwork. So you can use word resource to browse for color palettes and then raise your own. Experienced designers often take inspiration from the world around them. There's nothing wrong with finding something you like and making it your own. Have you seen an artwork that you like the way the color is set up and everything, or just an architectural or a set of buildings that you love the paint job and things like that? Take a picture and then bring it into your design and create a color palette out of what you are seeing. You can always take inspiration from anywhere. So putting it all together, everywhere you look at, there's color and more color. It can be intimidating at first, but the more you keep experimenting, the more you keep trying. When you experiment with something, get honest reviews from people. Do you like this? Do you like this? Before you know it, you'll be able to have your own perfect design language that works for you the way you understand. So we hope you've enjoyed learning the basics of color. So, and I hope you've picked up one or two things and then you keep practicing in order to improve your. So, thank you very much for your attention.